Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to EEGR's 20th birthday seminar. EEGR's 20 years old. That's fantastic. What an amazing thing to be celebrating. Thank you all for joining us today to celebrate that fact. For those of you that I haven't had the chance to meet, I'm Martin Dronfield, the Executive Chairman of EEGR, and it's my pleasure to be hosting this afternoon. I'm not going to talk to you about the last 20 years. I'm going to let a video do that, and some other far more qualified speakers. I am going to talk to you in a little while about the next 20 years. And I'm going to do that through the lens of EEGR's new manifesto, a document that makes commitments to you all, to our members, to our stakeholders and to our region. And those commitments are about EEGR going forward, what we're going to do and how we're going to behave and what we hope to achieve. So I'll come back to that shortly. I'd just like to welcome all of our speakers and presenters today. Xanthi Coopers from EDF, Steph Crawford from Apito, Jonathan Reynolds from Oppergy, Charlie Jordan from Scottish Power Renewables, Bill Katanak from the Oil and Gas Authority, and Isabel Divana from Renewable UK. Thank you to all of those for joining us today. Thank you for giving up your time to help us celebrate 20 years. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to a video.
How did EEGR start? It started with the idea of reusing platforms, recognised that we needed to be careful with identity and location, and moved from Great Yarmouth through Recommissioning Partnership to the East of England and the East of England Energy Group. We started with £60,000. We had £12,000 from Shell, 12 from BP, 12 from EDA, 12 from the Chamber of Commerce, 12 from AMEC. And the rest, as they say, is history.
S&S has gone from being a high-quality regional event to becoming a national event and now quasi-international.
It's all about doing something that you love, something that might make a difference, and working for local companies.
Offshore wind right now is one of the biggest industrial opportunities for the whole of the UK.
The world is changing fundamentally as we move towards significant electrification of everything we do.
Support for renewables and for low carbon will continue, and it's because it's been so successful.
Some of the largest infrastructure projects in the world, in the offshore wind sector, also in the nuclear sector, they're taking place off the East Anglian coast.
Some revisions along the way, but by and large it's still that vision of a sustainable future for energy and a sustainable East of England.
Instead of making excuses tomorrow to our children and grandchildren, we should be taking action against climate change today.
Working with colleagues who have similar views is by far the best way of getting the maximum reach and the maximum pull for our industry.
This transition is one of the most significant events in not just our lifetimes, but in the last 100 years.
I was presented with this Lifetime Achievement Award. It was just perhaps the first time in my life I was speechless.
Not much has happened in the East of England over the last 20 years from an energy perspective without EEGR being in the middle of it.
It's all about people.
The East of England leading the way now in the developments offshore wind, also in gas, and in nuclear.
Offshore wind will provide electricity for all the homes in the UK.
I'm proud that the UK has now enshrined in law our world-leading net zero commitment to reduce emissions.
Sector deals are a really important part of our industrial strategy. It's basically government and industry saying together, what are we going to do to grow and invest in this industry?
EDF proposes building a twin nuclear reactor costing £20 billion. The station would generate enough low-carbon power for 6 million homes.
Free ports are special economic zones with different rules to make it easier and cheaper to do business.
We very much hope that we are able to sit here in another 20 years, having continued to support and be the voice of our membership in the region, and to help drive an energy economy in the east of England second to none.
I think you'll see and hear a lot more about EEGR in the coming months and years.
Happy birthday, EEGR!
Fantastic. What a wonderful way to start the event. Some fond memories there for lots of people, a huge amount of history in a few moments. I want to spend a little bit of time talking you all through EEGR's customer and stakeholder manifesto. This is EEGR's document that we're publishing today. This will become available to everybody later on today through a variety of links and on the website. This is a document where EEGR is restating to the world, to the region, to its members, to its stakeholders, its purpose. It's repositioning itself in the energy landscape in the region, and it's rebuilding its capabilities after a difficult 14 or 16 months through the pandemic. Next slide, please, Anna. EEGR is 20 years old. What a fantastic achievement, and what a springboard for another 20 years, working on behalf of its members and sponsors in this most wonderful of energy regions, the east of England. This manifesto sets out EEGR's roadmap going forward. It creates the foundation for how EEGR will be focusing its efforts over the coming few years. It sets out our vision, our mission, our goals and our KPIs, as well as the benefits EEGR's members, its sponsors and our region can enjoy along the way. It tries to set out our position in the order of things, our approach to the future sustainability of our organisation, and our steadfast commitment to ED&I, and most importantly, our commitment to achieve net zero by 2050 or even sooner in our industry. The East of England is at the heart of the UK's energy production and distribution sectors, and EEGR is committed to helping our members and sponsors to grow our region's energy status as we transition to a carbon-free world. We exist to support our members, our stakeholders, and of course, the East of England region. It's what we do. It's our reason for being. EEGR provides a wide range of compelling member benefits that help your business grow and, if needed, diversify. We lobby actively on your behalf, and EEGR promotes your innovation and helps you take it to market. And we work tirelessly to ensure the future talent pipeline into the region's energy sectors remains strong and healthy and matches the needs of that industry going forward. Myself and the entire EEGR team are excited about the future. It is a future that will see an increasingly integrated energy approach in our region, and the emergence of an energy landscape that will demand energy sectors to change and work collaboratively. It will demand that we learn to work with an electrified economy, that we decarbonise our ports and our transport networks, and that we embrace the digital era. Our region must make itself compelling on the national stage. As a nation, we cannot have energy production and distribution centres of excellence in only the North East and in Scotland. Our challenge is to ensure that our region's energy solutions... Oh, I've lost the slides, Anna. Thank you. Our challenge is to ensure that our region's energy solutions work in harmony and that the ecology of our energy systems match the ecology of our environment and the rhythm of all of our lives. We hope you will see that ambition reflected in this manifesto. The manifesto is a fairly large document, ladies and gents. I'm going to take us through some of the contents today. I'm going to skip some of it. I do hope that it will be compelling and interesting enough for you to want to read it in its entirety at your leisure after this event. Next page, please, Anna. And again, if you would. So, EEGR, the East of England Energy Group, we're an industry-led membership organisation serving all of the energy sector in the East of England. We're 20 years old. Our model has changed along the way to suit industry needs, but we continue to provide members and sponsors with business development, lobbying, skills leadership, and innovation promotion, which we define as our member benefits. This manifesto represents EEGR's future. It marks the start of a refreshed and revitalised EEGR, whilst setting out EEGR's commitment to you, its members, to you, its sponsors, and to our region. Next page, please, Anna. We're going to hear some more of this over the next 3/4 of an hour, but the East of England has become a rich and diverse cluster of varied forms of generation, and with almost all forms of power production, from natural and built assets, either on or immediately off its coastline. The time is right for our region to take its rightful place in the government's levelling up agenda. Thank you, Anna. The East of England is an energy powerhouse. It's at the heart of the world's largest market for offshore wind. It's the UK's gas capital, and it's a prime area to explore blue hydrogen with carbon capture and storage. A hub for nuclear, both new build, existing, reuse, repurposing, and potentially decommissioning at Sizewell in Suffolk. And it's a future UK hub for low carbon hydrogen production and servicing. Thank you, Anne. I'll let you read the details and some of those figures for yourselves. But by 2050, the analysts are forecasting £122 billion spent on energy in our region. What a fantastic opportunity, what a fantastic prize. Thank you, Anna. So EEGR is expanding the regions that it wants to cover, that it wants to help, that it wants to support, and it's expanding the sectors that we hope to attract, and again, that we want to give a platform and a stage to. We're going to be focused heavily going forward on Essex and Cambridgeshire, as well as Norfolk and Suffolk, our traditional heartlands. And you will see there that we are keen to embrace all of the energy production and distribution sectors in the East of England. Thank you, Anna. We believe that EEGR provides and will continue to provide huge benefits to the energy sector in the east of England and the whole region. We believe that there is a strong partnership for regional growth and a strong partnership for the region's future between the east of England and EEGR. And we want to see that continue for a long time. Thank you, Anna. We believe that the need for EEGR to be a trusted and unifying organisation in the east of England is as compelling today as it has ever been. We're working hard to collaborate with our members and our stakeholders to provide excellent value for money services and to coordinate help for you all through these difficult times. Thank you, Anna. So what's our vision? We have 3 pillars that underpin what we do. We want to see the east of England continue to lead energy generation. We, of course, want to support the achievement of net zero. But we also want to support that by maintaining balance, by ensuring that the economic benefits of energy in our region don't interfere with the region's natural environment, habitats and landscape. We want to make that balance. Thank you, Anne. So we've identified some activity, some things along the way that are our mission. This is what we want to do. We want to campaign strongly for all clean energy projects. We want to position ourselves as a driving force in the East of England energy business. We want to build a strong internal team within EEGR that provides incredible services to you all. We want to reinforce our position in Essex, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. We want to continue to take a leadership role in the region's energy skills efforts. We want to ensure that the region has high quality energy metrics available to the wider investment community. Those looking to invest in our region need to understand the metrics of our region. We want to focus hard on equality, diversity and inclusion in our energy sector. And we want to focus hard on attracting more women into our industry. We want to lead a step change within our organisation, away from a traditional trade association towards an industry service organisation. We want to be flexible. We want to be able to respond to your needs as a region and as members and stakeholders. And finally, we want to build on our work with young people and skills and their skills. We want to help build the next generation of our workforce. We've taken the experience of the past 20 years and we're using it now through this manifesto and through a refreshed team to drive change for the future. Thank you, Anna. We're going to be measuring ourselves. We're going to be measuring the satisfaction of our customers, and indeed we are currently in the middle of a customer satisfaction survey. Some of you may have received that. We welcome your feedback, both good and bad, please. We're challenging ourselves to significantly increase membership. We're challenging ourselves to create a sustainable level of sponsorship in the organisation, and we're challenging ourselves to deliver organisational growth. EEGR wants to drive itself forward. Thank you, Anna. We've put in place some powerful skills for energy KPIs around developing a higher technical engineering offer in the region, around building intra-industry and inter-sector workforce transferability, around building inclusive local capacity and securing the future energy workforce. And finally, apprenticeships and group training, driving those forward in our region. Thank you, Anna. So we believe that we offer significant benefits to our members around business development. Our core focus is to help you build your businesses. It's to help you lobby and to help the region lobby. It's to drive forward skills in the region and within our industry sectors. And it's to promote innovation. Thank you, Anna. We want all of these categories of companies and organisations to look to EEGR for support and to join our organisation. I won't go through all of those now, but you can see we're looking to attract a wide and diverse range of members. Thank you, Anna. And we operate what we believe to be an incredibly value and cost-effective membership structure. Thank you, Anna. We're looking for sustainable sponsorship to survive and to grow and to continue to offer the region and our members and stakeholders the benefits that we try to offer. We need to create sustainability in our funding and in our sponsorship. And we believe that we offer sponsors a really powerful platform to help build their businesses and help take their businesses forward in the region. Thank you, Anna. So we've put in place a refreshed and revised sponsorship structure. Again, I won't go through all of that, but I'll let you read it once the manifesto is published. Thank you, Anna. So what does EEGR do? Well, underneath its guiding vision, which I've talked to you about, EEGR does 4 things. They're 4 pillars. They're the reason we exist. And we exist to provide business development services and support for our members. And that support comes in many ways. We exist to lobby. We lobby on behalf of individual members, on behalf of industry sectors, and on behalf of our region as a whole. We provide skills leadership through the Skills for Energy programme, and indeed wider than that. We provide huge amount of skills leadership in the region. And finally, and increasingly going forward, we will promote innovation from within our region to the wider audience. We hold events, we hold special interest groups, we carry out administrative duties and coordination duties, and we publish a wide variety of social and printed media. But we do all of those last 4 activities in support of our 4 pillars, not for the sake of it. Thank you, Anna. So a view of what's happening this year, next year, and the year after. Skills for Energy is being expanded hugely. There's a series of events and engagements over this year and next year in terms of Skills for Energy. We will be producing at the end of this year a cross-sector skills report. We will be taking ownership of skills, statistics and data and reporting for the region. We will be running from next month a series of energy podcasts in partnership with other members of the regional supply chain. We're going to be kicking off next month a series of energy sector seminars, giving a platform for all of the different energy sectors within our region to talk to the region. We will be publishing a members capability directory over the next few months, a window on the capabilities of all of our members and of the region to the wider world. We will continue to publish regular e-shots. We will be entering collaboration agreements with a number of other UK organisations, and we'll hear about one of those later from Isabel. We're reinstigating our annual awards ceremony and our gala dinner, and we've already booked venues for December of this year, and all of our fingers are crossed that we're able to hold that event. We will be driving forward Wind Week this year, a fantastic celebration of offshore wind and onshore wind. We will be running a series of member coaching seminars through this year and next year, giving our members the opportunity to both sell themselves but provide free coaching in their discipline, in their expertise to other members within the EEGR organisation. And finally, we will be producing 2 energy papers at the end of the year. One on the regional energy generation and the other on the regional energy supply chain capabilities. Thank you, Anna. Our future has to be sustainable, and we will be focusing on the sustainability of our relationship with our employees, the sustainability of our relationship with the environment, the same with our customers, and the sustainability of our relationship with our stakeholders. And we will be putting a lot of effort into delivering against those goals on that page. Thank you, Anna. We set ourselves some ambitious targets. We want to double the size of EEGR over the next 4 years. Doubling the size of EEGR means doubling the number of people we can bring in to provide those 4 pillars of member benefits. That's what we want to do. Thank you, Anna. We will be driving forward equality, diversity and inclusion. We will be active and working hard to ensure that our energy sectors in this region recognises the need for us to be equal, diverse and to include in everything we do. And as I said earlier, we will be driving forward the opportunities for women to enter our industry sectors. Thank you, Anna. I can only apologise for this slide, but we recognise the importance of being an inclusive organisation that builds its strength on diversity. Just as the industry is transforming and our energy diversity is our strength, we need to ensure this diversity is represented within our workforce and on our board. In the next 2 years, we will be continuously strengthening our recruitment process to ensure we attract and develop diverse talent, with all the benefits that this brings to the long-term business, to the long term of EEGR. This is a strong commitment from the whole board and one we will expect you all to hold us accountable for. Thank you, Anna. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. As I said, the manifesto will be published during the course of today and tomorrow on the website and through a number of other channels. We look forward to you all reading it and to holding us account as we go forward. So Anna, do you want to go back to the slide? So it's my pleasure now to introduce to you Xanthi Coopers from EDF. Xanthi, over to you.
Thanks very much, Martin. Hi, everybody. Firstly, just to give apologies from both Julia Pike and Tom McGarry, who are very sadly not able to join today. So I'm representing and here to say, of course, to start off with, happy birthday to EEGR. We're very pleased to be part of this celebration. Sizewell is the only nuclear member of EEGR. We're a distinct but integral part of the energy sector on the coast. But we recognise that EEGR brings us together as a community, promoting our collective interest and serving the sector as a whole for the past 20 years, which is very exciting. So we're pleased to be here to celebrate that. As many of you know, EDF are owners and operators of renewables and gas-powered stations. And so we recognise the challenges and opportunities faced by our fellow members. And we'd just like to congratulate EEGR for representing all of us and all of our diverse interests over the last 2 decades. Anna, if you wouldn't mind going on to the next slide. Some lovely pictures of the coastline, obviously. When EEGR was established, Sizewell A was actually still operational. The first reactors started generating in 1996, eventually shutting down after 40 years in December 2006, being a true workhorse of dependable British low-carbon electricity production. And then in the second picture, you can see Sizewell B, the UK's only pressurised water reactor and most modern nuclear power station, which is only actually 6 years older than EEGR itself. Sizewell B currently generates 3% of the UK's electricity. It's low carbon, safe, and covers a small footprint on the land, obviously surrounded by 600 hectares of the beautiful Suffolk coast and areas of outstanding natural beauty, of which we are proud stewards. So really the station and EEGR have grown up together, working closely together, and Sizewell is at the heart of the UK's energy zone and can be part of its net zero future. We're excited that EEGR is leading and taking us forward, facing and tackling climate change, but also looking at the recovery that we need to make in the post-pandemic world, and the plans for our growth as a sector and how we can take those forward. Can I ask you to turn over to the next slide, please, Anna? As also many of you know, part of that growth as a sector will be with the Sizewell C project. This slide summarises some of the status of where we are with the Sizewell C project. We have said at the last 2 All Energy Industry Council meetings that we are ready to build Sizewell C. We are waiting for the planning consents to come into place so that we can put the financing in place as well, and we could be able to start on site as early as the latter part of next year. So our development consent order is currently in the examination phase, and other applications for licenses have also been submitted. We're obviously working alongside EEGR and a host of other regional and national and local partners to create jobs in the local area, to invest in the skills necessary to take forward Sizewell C, and to prepare the supply chain that we need for the development of Sizewell C to bring the huge benefits that it can as we transition towards a net zero future, and recognising the important role that Sizewell can play in that. Next slide, please, Anna. Another exciting part of the development of Sizewell C has been looking at both Sizewell B and Sizewell C as part of an energy hub, and opportunities to use both the heat and the electricity generated by the nuclear power stations for other low carbon energy solutions. So this can be part of a vision for the East of England sector, using residual heat and power for the creation of hydrogen, heating and cooling systems, and also direct air capture. Sizewell B and Sizewell C also form important elements of Freeport plans, and we saw that in the video, really exciting future developments, and looking into how that can provide clean fuels for transport as well. So bearing in mind time, can we go to the next slide, please, Anna? We just wanted to say a huge thank you to EEGR. The Sizewell C project is now at the business end of its planning process and financial discussions with government. Things are moving in really exciting directions for the project, and we continue to explore the different elements of the energy hub, the Freeport, as well as the development of the Sizewell C project itself. We've been consulting on our planning submission for a decade, but the development consent order has now been submitted and is in the examination phase, as I mentioned. During that time, the Sizewell C project has faced challenges, as has the nuclear sector, not least when Theresa May called for a review into the decision to sign contracts to enable the construction of Hinkley Point C in the summer of 2016. There was then a difficult 3 months of examination by the government of the Hinkley Point C deal, but EEGR was a steadfast supporter of EDF and the projects at that time, and it was Simon Gray who was writing to Number 10 and the Financial Times, insisting that the government needed to move forward, and the East of England Energy Group lobbying Whitehall to get on and build in Somerset, recognising that that helps us to unlock future opportunities in Suffolk for jobs and skills and the development of further low carbon power. So I just wanted to finish by saying thank you to EEGR. Thanks for having us, thanks for working alongside us, and here's to another 20 years of serving and promoting the East of England energy sector. And hopefully by that time you'll be the elder sibling of another new nuclear power station. So I think that just leaves it for me to say thank you again, thanks for having us, but also to pass on to Steph Crawford from Opito, who is going to speak next.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction there. So firstly, from everyone at Opito, I'd like to wish EEGR a very happy 20th birthday. It's been quite an eventful 20 years, and with the new manifesto that we went through earlier, it sounds like the next few years will be just as busy and successful too. So Apito has supported and worked alongside EEGR for many years and has always championed the important and relevant work that the team deliver across the east of England. Looking back, I'm proud to have been part of such inspiring initiatives aimed at a load of different audiences, from young people, school leavers, career changers, and teachers. Now, as we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, we know we need a green recovery that balances strong economic growth with a huge reduction in greenhouse gas emissions to meet the Paris Agreement. And rising to this truly global challenge needs people with passion, creativity, and determination to imagine a different future, and a highly skilled talent pipeline to deliver the solutions needed to achieve a low carbon economy. So as an organisation responsible for training more than 375,000 people each year through training centres across the globe, Apito is hard at work to deliver the training and skills development needed to support the world's net zero ambitions. And part of this role involves showcasing the vital contributions the energy sector makes to society, as well as exciting and varied learning opportunities a career in this industry can provide to young people, who are one of the key catalysts for change. But we can't do it alone. And we rely on the support and collaborative working with organisations like EEGR to successfully deliver the workforce for the future. And as an industry, we're getting much better at working together. And one example of this is the creation of the Energy Skills Alliance, of which EEGR plays a central role. The Energy Skills Alliance is a cross-industry group bringing together leaders from across the oil and gas, renewables, nuclear and refining industries, as well as representation from within the regulators, governments and trade unions. The group's one single purpose is to deliver an all-energy career proposition, and the expertise and drive of the organisations involved will guide the delivery of an integrated career opportunities that enable workers to see a career path across the breadth of the energy industry. An area of particular focus, and something that we know EEGR is passionate about, is the development of an all-energy apprenticeship, creating a programme that encompasses skills that are required for the future of energy and not just focusing on one sector. And development of this apprenticeship is ongoing, led by a working group within the Energy Skills Alliance, but with support and vital input from Apito, EEGR, and other organisations. On the subject of apprentices, for more than 20 years, Apito, in partnership with the ECITB, has managed the Oil and Gas Apprenticeship Programme on behalf of industry, which sees around 100 new recruits each year take part in the industry-renowned course. We rely heavily on the support of EEGR and the Skills for Energy programme to help promote and recruit candidates from across the east of England, as it is vital that we continue to build on a diverse workforce. At the 2019 SNS conference, we hosted the first Energise Your Future event in the east of England. And over the past 13 years, these events and the Energise Your Future programme has been a key fixture at many major UK energy events, including offshore Europe. It aims to inspire and encourage young people to consider the energy industry as a career choice by providing an opportunity to engage with businesses and personnel who operate in the sector. And at the event in 2019, we had over 50 students from local colleges attend the event at SNS, which was supported by several exhibitors, including Scottish Power Renewables. Now, the success of that first event was down to ongoing engagement with EEGR's Skills for Energy team, whose aims and objectives align to Apito's workforce development agenda and ensure the ongoing diversity and volume of skilled individuals for the current and future well-being of the energy sector. As headline sponsor of the Skills for Energy programme for the second year running, we're committed to enhancing and developing the Skills for Energy offerings throughout 2021 and beyond. Earlier this year, and with the help and support from various industry organisations, and as part of the Energy Skills Alliance STEM approach, Apito launched My Energy Future, a dynamic programme designed to bring the future of energy to life for young people. My Energy Future provides a voice for an exciting group of energy influencers from across the country and the energy industry. It aims to engage and educate young people on the role of energy in our everyday lives and inspire them to play their part in our net zero future. At the heart of My Energy Future is a strong community, creating a platform for learning, conversation, and debate on the future of energy. And here's one of our energy influencers to tell us a bit about her role in the sector. If you can play the video now, Anna, thank you.
The thing I love most about my job is the huge variety of projects I get to work on. No day is the same as any other. Hi, I'm Lorna. I'm 32 and I work as a project engineer with the Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult. My day-to-day job is working with technology innovators to help improve the offshore renewables industries across offshore wind power, wave power and tidal power energy development. The UK has more installed offshore wind power than any other country and all other European countries combined. And we have been world-changing in our innovations and our technology development for decades. There are huge opportunities developing. In 2019, the offshore wind industry signed an agreement with the UK government to develop at least 30 gigawatts of offshore wind power capacity by 2030. We only have 10 gigawatts of installed capacity right now, so the industry needs to at least triple in size to that target, but quadruple in size to the government's target of 40 gigawatts by 2030. It's hugely important that young people consider a career in the energy sector because the industry is growing at such a huge rate. There are so many different job roles and opportunities across a whole range of sectors. If you like maths and science, you can do engineering. If you like biology, there's environmental sciences. There's accountancy and financial aspects. You do not have to be an engineer, though all the best people are engineers. My one piece of advice to anyone considering a career in energy is do it.
Thank you. So that site, which was launched last month, was created and developed by a team of industry stakeholders who contributed not only engaging content, but their time and expertise to ensure that the messaging and tone were relevant, and they provided constructive feedback, all of which has resulted in what I hope you can all agree is a fantastic resource. Now, as we look to the future, particularly the year ahead, we at APITO very much are looking forward to continuing to work closely with the EEGR team as we diversify our own portfolio, but also support the EEGR Manifesto and the Skills for Energy programme in the East of England. It's through these collaborative efforts we hope to spark an interest among the next generation, helping to grow the diverse pipeline needed to deliver a viable energy system that is fit for the future and makes a difference for years to come. So thank you very much for having me. And I've got the pleasure now of introducing our next speaker. Please welcome Jonathan Reynolds from Operagy. Over to you.
Thanks, Steph, and thanks, EEGR, for inviting me. So if I can go to the next slide, please. So firstly, happy birthday, the whole of EEGR, 20 years. Certainly, looking back at the video that was played at the beginning, certainly some fond memories and certainly things I've completely forgotten about, actually. So, wow, what a 20 years. And if we go back to 20 years ago, so 2001, then we were really the beginning of some of the renewables revolution that we're seeing, the investment in low carbon. Low carbon wasn't a term that even was around then. And look at the growth over the last 2 decades. It's actually been phenomenal. I've got the pleasure really of being, I think, employee number 2 at EEGR. Way back when, so 21st of May 2001. So I've been with EEGR almost from the very beginning and played a number of different roles through the organisation. I was a member of the team working with John Best in the early days and Steph Pimlott and various other team members over the years. Been on the board, I've been a major funder, I've been a major contractor. So my relationship with EEGR goes back right to the very beginning. If you go to the next slide, please. So I thought just a selection of a few pictures. And to be honest, I have thousands in the archive from all the EEGR events. So going around from the top left, there we go. There's a young Mr. Best with, if anyone can put the names of the other three gentlemen in there into the chat, that would be a good test. It's almost to see if Mr. Best can remember, actually. But one particular event I do remember was when we started "The Wind is in the East," quote from Bleak House, and even getting to look at low carb diets with our summer conference and having a bit of fun with local produce and the links with agriculture. And for Xanthi, I know I think you can go back to and tell Tom. We found a picture of a slightly younger, fresh-faced Tom McGarry from EDF and Sizewell. Probably just before he got battered by 10 years worth of consultations and everything else. And clearly the picture at the bottom right was taken last week when John and I were clearly just still very fresh-faced, young and good-looking. And the picture there, I had to put that in one for Martin. So Martin, that was 2006, EEGR Summer Conference at the John Innes Centre. So slightly younger Martin Dromfield there as well. So great that Martin's now part of the Opportunity team and also EEGR's chair, so fantastic. Go to the next slide, please. So chat through this one. Martin showed the graph, or sorry, the graphic earlier on, but I want to talk that through a little bit because a lot of that wasn't here 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and it was touched on in the video around the impact study. And it's I'm sure John Best, if he was on the camera, he'd be waving his thumbed copy of the study even now. But it was kind of around how do we position, how do we understand what was going on in the offshore sector and the oil and gas industry, about 20,000 people at the time employed then. And it was akin to kind of 2 or 3 Luton car plants equivalent. So huge job creation opportunities, but they were offshore and nobody onshore really recognized the value or really understood what was happening. So part of EEGR's voice at that time was to tell that story, to talk about decommissioning opportunities at that time. But I think as from the video, we had something called the Recommissioning Partnership. So really trying to, at that time, 20 years ago, look at to turn the waste into an opportunity, or can we do something else? And since then, offshore wind has gone from zero to such one of the biggest growth sectors that everybody's talking about. And we are now right at the heart of the world's largest market for offshore wind. And it's fantastic to see now beyond offshore wind, but the potential innovations around hydrogen, around storage, lots of other opportunities enabled by large-scale renewables and large-scale low-carbon power. With East of England is actually now blessed as one of the leading regions for decentralized power, so onshore renewables. So on that map, all the little yellow squares on land are all large-scale solar farms. And we have as a region, one of the largest collections of solar assets. We have loads of energy storage going on, and a lot of new nuclear as well. So not just Sizewell B, Sizewell C, fingers crossed, Bradwell down the road in North Essex as well. And huge opportunities for converting some of our perhaps more challenging sites. We've got the Great Yarmouth Power Station, combined cycle gas turbine technology is one of the largest carbon point sources in the region. So, but it also presents a major opportunity for innovation and demonstration of new technologies. And around bioenergy, this region genuinely was one of the first regions to invest in demonstration projects around biomethane injection to grid. So projects such as Adnams, Raden in Southwold, and now we see BioCow at the Ella airfields. Huge amounts of investment going into kind of proving biomethane injection to the grid. So more kind of renewables as well. And I think huge opportunities there with future offshore winds, future of energy storage, and so much going on in terms of hydrogen and carbon capture as well. So next slide, please. You may have seen versions of these stats before, and I don't really make an apology for that because I'm going to chat them through. But offshore wind, from, as I said, zero to to where we are now. Onshore wind, it's one of the sectors we forget about, but we've got 415 megawatts going on in EEGR's geography, looking at Essex, Cambridge, Norfolk, Suffolk. The same for bioenergy. What's really interesting is the 600 megawatts plus of battery storage projects that are either operational, planning is granted, or they're simply waiting construction. And that's just in the 4 counties there. Huge opportunity, and one that I think we're going to see huge amounts more over time. Wave and tidal and the southern North Sea. It's not a sector not an area we've looked at yet, but we're going to need to in terms of co-location, co-developments, hybrid developments. But actually, there is some research going on that suggests actually the conditions for the Southern North Sea are right to support test and demonstration projects. Solar PV, there we go, 127 large-scale arrays. So that doesn't include all of the homes with you know, a few PV panels. 127 large-scale array generating at least 1.3 gig. And again, look at Sizewell B, Sizewell C. Hopefully, we'll start looking at construction. Hopefully, as early as late 2022. Another 3.2 gigawatts of power. And if anyone didn't see BBC Two last night with the first part of the documentary on building Hinkley Point, do go and watch it on iPlayer. It's fascinating to see the scale of the job creation investment going into Somerset. Hopefully what we'll see coming into Suffolk, not too far away. 30% of UK's gas for Bacton, coming through the Bacton terminal. It's a number that we've often talked about, but again, this morning, actually, we are fortunate to be part of the Oil and Gas UK annual conference, talking about the role of this region in terms of facilitating hydrogen, whether it's blue with CCS or green hydrogen through electrolysis, massive, massive opportunities. And the same for, we have one of Europe's largest potential CO2 storage networks, certainly in the Southern North Sea, which we think could really help us become the backbone of hydrogen in the UK. Next slide, please. So that's a bit of the opportunity. Now, forgive the numbers. I'm not going to chat through all these numbers. You'll be really pleased to hear, but I just wanted to kind of present on the far right there. This is EEGR's geography. This is some of the economic stats. So number of businesses, number of local units, number of employees. Now, on average, over the last 5 years, we're seeing an average kind of 13 to 15% growth in this space. So this is low carbon technologies, energy related supply chains. So over 12,000 companies. That has effectively doubled since EEGR was created 20 years ago. The same with the number of employees, over 110,000 or close to 110,000 people employed in the low carbon, renewable energy and environmental space in our region. It's fantastic. And that's plus 16,000, so about 13% growth over the last few years. And collectively, we're talking about £17 billion opportunity, or £17 billion turnover from those companies. So this is a huge existing industry, huge exciting opportunities. And you go to the next slide. I forgot this one was crept into the EEGR manifesto, so apologies. It's the same numbers, same slides, just different colours. But we've mapped out, certainly out to 2050, which is one of, I think, the long-range forecasts, certainly one of the only long-range forecasts we've seen that breaks this down in this level. But £122 billion worth of opportunities in terms of new projects that we are confident are going to happen. You can see there, significant amount around offshore wind, 62 billion plus. So huge opportunities across the whole of the energy scene. And last slide, please. You'll be pleased to hear. Why, in my opinion, why we need EEGR. Still more now than ever, we need that powerful voice for the region, someone to champion the region's interests and the needs of our sector. And we do need that industry-wide leadership that brings together the whole of the energy system. Whole systems thinking, the whole energy system of phrases you will hear more and more and more over the next year or so. But we need that strong champion attracting investment, jobs, influencing governments, not just our own, local, central, international governments, and really kind of driving that really dynamic business network that we know and we all know is here in our region. So certainly from on the right-hand side, that's what EEGR's strategic themes were when I was still involved. So raising the profile, international business, innovation, technology transfer, all these things. And we're still doing this because they're all the right things and we need to carry on doing the same. But we need to intensify perhaps some of the activities there. And EEGR's always been about partnership, not about one organization or one sector. We need to come together and work together. So certainly Oppergy, our team, often wearing some different hats over the last 20 years, but we have been supporting EEGR from its inception and throughout the last 20 years, and we genuinely look forward to continuing that partnership and as we move into this new era and the road to net zero. So thank you for listening. I hope I'm still within 10 minutes, but if not, I finish now. Thanks very much. And I think, actually, I'm introducing, apologies there, Charlie Jordan, who really needs no introduction in the region, but Charlie, over to you.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Hi, thank you all. So I think they say you shouldn't start a presentation with an apology, but maybe I should. I don't have slides for this presentation, and I'm pretty sure that looking at some pictures of offshore turbines may be a bit more aesthetically pleasing. So that's where we are. So really it's a pleasure and an honour to be given this opportunity to wish EEGR a very happy 20th birthday. And I'm certainly delighted on behalf of Scottish Power Renewables to get the opportunity to do that. I think a lot has changed certainly over the last 20 years, and it's great to see Jonathan's pictures. And you only need to look back at some of the world events and what was happening about 2001 to really understand the nature of these changes. And I had a quick look back and you've seen that George W. Bush had just been elected and started his first term in office. And Tony Blair had won a landslide second general election. In terms of education, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone had just been released in a movie, which was the first in the series. And in sport and football in the Premier League, Man United had won the league. But I think very importantly and very impressively, Ipswich were sitting at a lofty 5th in the league position. Down into the First Division, Fulham had won the First Division and Norwich were challenged down in 15th. So you can certainly see there's been a change in fortunes over that period. And indeed, from others' perspective as well, back in 2001, Scotland had just missed out on a major footballing tournament. We didn't realise that was going to happen continuously over the next 20 plus years, so I'm delighted to see that being remedied this summer. From my own perspective, I was actually working in a coal-fired power station, but then interestingly from offshore wind, I was realising that the Crown Estate had just completed the first leasing round for the offshore wind leasing round, and at the time the criteria was a maximum of 30 wind turbines, and the turbine of choice at that time was of 2 megawatts. So I think all of that shows you the world has certainly changed, and even more so the energy industry has changed. And I think throughout this all change, it's a really tremendous credit to all involved at EEGR, be that the members or all those involved in administering the company, that they've been able to continue, in fact, lead an energy transition through this period, really leading from the front. And we've seen EEGR move, I would have said, from a local organisation really through to having a national, in fact, at times an international significance. And we've seen it recently within our organisation. We're looking at projects in the Far East and Asia, and we were citing EEGR as an example of how the supply chain locally really needs to be organising themselves. So in thinking about today, I had the privilege, as always, of speaking to John Best, and I was asking John about his vision in the early years. And John had told me his real vision at the time, I think with him and Jonathan and those involved at the start, was sustainable production and wise use of energy. And he was keen to point out that that sustainability is both environment, but also how we deal with the supply chain as well. And I think 20 years on, that's a vision that is every bit as important today as we deal with the climate emergency than it was at the time. You know, we need to continue to change how we live, how we work, how we generate, distribute and use energy. And I think that's where EEGR continue to give a real leading opportunity to do that. And when we started first really engaging with EEGR, it's then 10 years, so back in 2011, and we've seen the benefits and the importance of working with Simon and all of the team, and indeed all the supply chain. And that was why at that time we took the decision to sponsor EEGR, and we've continued to rely on EEGR and be supported by EEGR and all the members as well, to achieve our ambitions and ambitions of the offshore wind industry. And I think from an offshore wind perspective, we want to do more, we want to do it faster, we want to be advancing technologies that are also going to help us to reduce costs. And we're only going to be able to achieve that by all working together. And we talked about the climate emergency, but I think we also have tremendous opportunities in what we're doing over the next 10, 20 years. We've just recently completed our East Anglia 1 project, 714 megawatts, and there's a lot of credit, particularly all those that worked locally on the site, as to complete the project during the pandemic. But that modest project, and compared to the full ambitions of the industry going forward, just shows you some of the benefits. There we were able to invest over 145 million locally in East Anglia, with over 70 local companies helping us to build out the project. We facilitated upgrades in 2 of the main ports and recruited over 100 long-term skilled workers who are now based out of Lowestoft, and many more workers also been able to support and work and support the companies that we're appointing. And perhaps one of the most inspiring areas has been what's been able to happen about the educational works as well. You know, we've been able to support and engage with over 4,000 people at all levels of the educational spectrum, be that from trying to stimulate the interest in STEM subjects or primary kids, up to university master students, transitioning people into the industry, and now we're seeing more apprentices coming in as well. I say that's all at 714 megawatts. We've now got nearly 10 times of that sitting off the coast of East Anglia, just ready to go, subject to getting appropriate consents in place. And it was mentioned earlier about the UK contents, you know, for 2030 targets, where we're looking to get quadruple our ambitions for over 40 gigawatts. And I think EEGR and the members have got a key role to play ensuring that we can achieve that. I say, well, what a fantastic opportunity. You only need to compare the recent round 4 leasing round, and you recognise that capacity actually almost exists there off the coast of East Anglia today, with projects at different stages of development. And I touched on there, and we've seen certainly from Steph's presentation, a real key aspect is to recruit the workforce of the future. And whether that's working in offshore wind, oil and gas, nuclear, or further ahead to green hydrogen, I think we all need to continue to work together to train people, to transition people, and to try and bring people into our respective industries. We see the fantastic work, you know, it's been carried out with certainly through EEGR with Gemma and Marie and the Skills for Energy group as well. And we've seen examples of that through Steph's presentation with Peter there. So I think just summing up for me, I think it's important that we all continue to work together to make sure that we're all aware and make sure that we're telling everyone of the amazing opportunities that this energy transition is going to bring. So a real big thank you from all at Scottish Power Renewables East Anglia 1, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of all other offshore wind developers as well. A big thank you to EEGR. A happy birthday to EEGR as well, and we look forward to all working together to overcome the many challenges, but also realise all the opportunities we've got going forward. So on that note, I'll see it as a good opportunity to have a bit of cake and wish you all a happy birthday again. I'm delighted now to pass on to Bill Katanak from the Oil and Gas Authority.
So good afternoon, everybody. As I said, my name is Bill Katanak and representing the Oil and Gas Authority. Just to start off by saying congratulations to EEGR on their 20th anniversary celebration. And on behalf of everyone at the Oil and Gas Authority, happy birthday to everybody, to EEGR. Our CEO, Andy Samuel, sends his best wishes and apologies that he is not able to be with us today. I personally have enjoyed a very positive relationship with EEGR, having been involved since the beginning, way back in the days, along with Jonathan and John Best, and at that time I was with the DTI. So it's a pleasure to participate in today's celebration and say a few words. Can we move on to the next slide, please? As we know, the Southern North Sea was where it all began for the UK's oil and gas industry all these years ago. The first economic gas discovery was West Sole gas field in 1965, which began producing 2 years later, and over half a century later is still producing. So that's a great feat, I think, for the SNS. The SNS has provided us with around 49 trillion cubic feet of gas over the decades, heating our homes, powering our economy. Today, the basin continues to produce just under 1 billion cubic feet per day from 71 producing gas fields and features a whole system of associated infrastructure, pipelines and terminals, and continues to support many quality jobs both directly and through the wonderful supply chain which is based in the region. The Cygnus gas field, which came on stream in 2016, is capable of supplying up to 6% of the UK's gas demand, enough to fuel 1.5 million UK homes. And in the coming weeks, the Premier, or as they are now called, Harbour Energy, Tolmont field will come on production, proving there is still more to come. Yes, the SNS has plenty of life left, with ample, valuable gas reserves and resources still to recover. Our need for gas for heat and power isn't going away anytime soon. While we are no longer self-sufficient in gas from the basin, it is important to make the most of our domestic reserves and minimise the use of imports, including LNG, which have a far higher associated carbon footprint. Therefore, the east of England remains important, and we very much see the region as having a key role in helping unlock low carbon energy as we transition towards net zero. Can we have the next slide, please? Well, the OGA itself has only been in existence since 2015. As I alluded to earlier, I have a much longer standing relationship going right back to the origins of the organisation. Back then, as part of the old DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, we were tasked with helping develop a competent supply chain based in the east of England to serve the buoyant SNS gas basin. It was clear even in these early days, the SNS and Southern Gas Hub had already established its own economy, which was quite unique compared to other parts of the basin, such as Aberdeen, and indeed continues to do so today. At that time, many of the larger Tier 1 service companies, including AMEC and Aker, had bases in the region. Shell had a substantial office, and the Bacton terminal was well established. Large volumes of gas were coming onshore, being processed and then transported onwards to southern UK cities, including London. At that time, the UK was wholly self-sufficient in gas, and the east of England was a key contributor to UK energy policy. With all this in mind, it was apparent the region and the SNS would benefit from bringing all the different players closer together. The idea was to establish a regional membership organisation focused on the supply chain. This would promote supply chain capability and provide a link between the large number of innovative SME businesses in the region and buyers of their services. DTI provided some seed corn funding to establish and nurture the organisation in its early years, and along with the founding CEO, John Best, we helped develop a strategy and EEGR was born. DTI was represented on the original board, and today, as OGA, both myself and my colleague Sylvia Buchan still maintain a legacy observer seat on the board. Over the years, membership continues to grow, and as the renewable energy expanded, so did the spread of participation within EEGR. Simon Gray took over the reins about 10 years ago and has built upon the early success of the organisation and been a real champion for the region with passion and enthusiasm. He has continued to ensure EEGR is at the centre of all the energy activity in the region. And I know Simon's not with us today because of family illness, but our thoughts are certainly with him, and we look forward to seeing him back running the organisation fairly soon. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Every time I visit the region, I am deeply impressed by the diversity present in the energy sector, with nuclear well established and offshore renewables growing by the day. The SNS region, with its diverse mix of energy players, is in many ways the original integrated basin, and has no doubt influenced our thinking on energy integration and the role in achieving net zero. Back in 2018, the OGA published our study into gas to wire opportunities in the SNS. Oil and gas collaborating with wind for mutual benefit. This was strongly supported by EEGR, and we thank them for that support. This small, perhaps niche study sparked imaginations, and we started looking in much more detail at other opportunities to integrate with other energy systems. This led to our energy integration study. This found that the North Sea as a whole can provide 60% of the UK's total abatement requirements through to 2050 through electrification, carbon capture and storage, hydrogen and wind. With the potential for all these technologies to link up right here, we see the East of England as having a big role to play as a demonstrator for energy integration. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Making use of the region's natural gas resources, the Bacton area has the potential to show energy transition in action by becoming a significant hydrogen production site. Blue hydrogen will help to unlock carbon capture and storage in depleted gas reservoirs, and the ramp up of offshore wind will unlock green hydrogen in the longer term. We see Bacton as strategically important, with the potential to provide clean hydrogen for domestic and transportation for London and the South East, just as natural gas did over the last 50 years. We've recently published our study into the potential of Bacton, which outlines the very real opportunity to kickstart blue hydrogen production, distribution, and carbon storage using existing gas fields and infrastructure. Please take a look at our report on our website. We are working closely with EEGR and other organisations in the region to help make this potential a reality. We're actively now bringing parties together to get investment and plans in place to take forward the development of an energy hub, with a workshop planned for later this month. So what about the next 20 years as we move forward towards a low carbon economy? I am confident they will be very bright indeed. Many of the skills and business capability already exists in the region, and EEGR is well placed to play a pivotal role in pulling together various energy sectors and a competent supply chain to service the industry. The OGA look forward to continuing this positive relationship into the future. We continue to have a purposeful relationship with EEGR, and both our SNS operations team, led by Alistair McFarlane, and my supply chain team make regular use of the organisation. So many happy returns on this 20th anniversary, and the OGA look forward to continuing to work together, hopefully long into the future. Thank you. I can now pass over to Isabel Davina from Renewables UK.
I'm the Executive Director of Commercial and Customer Experience here at Renewable UK. I'm speaking to you from Cambridge, here in the East of England region. So I'm delighted to be talking to you. I wish we were talking face to face. I'm so looking forward to when we actually have a chance to meet face to face. I was due to speak at the EEGR conference last year, and then of course COVID came in March, so we couldn't do that. But I'm very much looking forward to meeting you face to face. I've been asked to come and talk about the work that Renewable UK has done with EEGR, and will continue to do with EEGR, our mutual members, our mutual relationships and connections, and to wish a happy birthday to EEGR, looking retrospectively, but also talk about the future with the MOU that we've signed to work closer together. I have a hat, a happy birthday hat that you can see. I'm not going to put it on my head because it's going to fall off and get tangled in my earrings. It's a disaster. I've tried before. And I won't sing because that will put you off for watching the rest of my video. So let's not do that. But you have my and Renewable UK's heartfelt congratulations on your 20th anniversary and happy birthday to you. I wanted to explore a little bit the relationship between EEGR and Renewable UK, and of course why it's important for the renewable sector. And of course the East of England is at the heart of the offshore industry, in the offshore wind industry in the UK. The projects in the region make up nearly a third of the UK's entire offshore wind fleet and power the equivalent of 3 million homes. So this is huge. Sometimes when we talk about offshore wind, we talk about other parts of the country, but East of England is massive. East of England is home to some of the very first commercial wind farms built in the early 2000s, so really at the birth of the sector. And it's here where we deployed some of the first of the new generation of turbines that have helped transform offshore wind into a mainstream technology, driving the energy transition as it does now. And when we look at the future of the industry, how we scale up to meet the challenge of net zero, East Anglia is at the heart of that growth story. In the next 5 years, for example, employment in offshore wind is set to more than double, and the sector will support nearly 7,000 jobs in the East of England. That's about a fourth of the jobs in the UK. Vattenfall's Norfolk project and SBR's East Anglia Hub are developments at a scale that few could have imagined a couple of decades ago for this industry that was just starting out. So it's just huge, huge achievements. And now we know that they're exactly the kind of investments that we need to make to meet net zero and support the green recovery. We use these case studies to invest, to support investment, to support private as well as public funding in the sector. Now, in Westminster, we, of course, at Renewable UK, are working with the government to ensure the UK has an industrial base that matches our world-leading offshore wind ambition. We want to see investment in our industrial and manufacturing capabilities across all parts of the UK, and we're already seeing new investment that will help build a globally competitive supply chain. We know that offshore wind will be the backbone of the UK's clean energy system, and we'll need a range of innovative technologies to meet this net zero. That means more onshore wind, more investment in new marine technologies and renewables, developing a world-leading hydrogen economy. And we want to see all of this happening. We want to see all of this happening for the region. We want to see a target of 5 gigawatts of renewable hydrogen capacity by 2035. And as a powerhouse of renewable generation, this could create huge opportunities for hydrogen production in the east of England. We're incredibly grateful to our members in the East of England for the support to Renewable UK. We really are. We will continue to work with you on behalf of your interests and also to support growth across the sector, especially the supply chain. This is really important to us, and many of the companies in the region are part of this extended supply chain. And we're also grateful to Simon and his team at EEEGR for the partnership over many years. We've worked closely together to showcase the potential of our sector and the policymakers. So the past of our relationship is filled with ambition and successes, and we celebrate this past when we talk to others. Now, looking forward, we've signed an MOU to work even more closely with EEEGR and its members. We will be sharing expertise, we'll be attending each other events, we will be working together to secure economic benefits, to ensure diversity and inclusivity are an important part of what we do. As you know, we've just launched a Just Transition Tracker just yesterday. We'll be keen to work with all the members of EEEGR and our members in Renewable UK to see how they can track this and track their development. So this MOU is a commitment to working closer together to promote renewable energy and to maintain and accelerate our global lead in clean technology. The MOU is being unveiled today, so read on and, of course, ask any questions. Thank you for listening, and again, happy, happy, happy birthday.
Thank you, Isabel, and thank you to all of our speakers. We have a few minutes now before we need to end for a few questions. I think that there are a couple in the Q&A, and there's a couple that have been emailed as well. So I'm going to start with one that was emailed through. Just to get this going, how does the region attract more government funding? It seems that it goes to other places in the UK. Well, that's a great challenge. It's a great question. I think that we need to ensure the region is really, really coordinated in its efforts, really coordinated around our messaging, and really coordinated about what we ask of UK government. This is a region that is quite complex in its energy production and its energy distribution. Yeah, sorry, reminder to me, could the panelists turn their cameras on? Would that be okay? Apologies, forgot to ask you all. Assumed you'd just realise. Well done, thank you. I think that the region needs to lobby incredibly hard, centrally and consistently. And one of the objectives, as Isabel has just said, of strengthening the relationship with Renewable UK is to ensure that we're very, very coordinated in that central lobbying. And so we look forward to doing that. We're working hard within EEEGR to re-establish our mechanisms for doing so. We've already booked and are looking forward to another annual House of Commons event down in Westminster in early 2022, another opportunity for the East of England to present itself. centrally and to government. Let me choose a panel member. Jonathan, any more thoughts on how the region attracts more government funding?
Good question. There's a lot to unpack in that, but the clear thing is having a really clear ask, clear narrative, clear leadership, but we need a really strong evidence base in terms of the impact that any investment is going to have in terms of jobs or infrastructure or anything else. Right now, government's focusing on things like levelling up, which quite often people forget that we've got really disadvantaged communities in the east of England that actually are, in some areas, which is more deprived than some areas of the north or other areas that typically get a lot more focus. So we need to make sure that those arguments are really understood by both central government, but also all of the regional partners, the MPs, local authority partners as well, because we need to be effectively, this phrase is quite often used with politicians, but hunting as a pack. We need that united story and all parts of the energy system actually working together to strengthen that message for the region.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Jonathan. Steph, one for you, if I may. What benefits will an all-energy approach bring to the skills and training agenda, do you believe?
Well, that's a good question. I guess we can talk all day really about skills and training for the future, but I think I touched on the work of the Energy Skills Alliance and what they're aiming to do, and that one approach to creating a more broader energy workforce. And I guess it comes down to the benefits of having transferable skills. Right now we've got, I think I used the example in my presentation about the oil and gas technical apprenticeship, which is great, but that focuses on one sector. It's about creating a workforce where you've got lots of transferable skills, where people can move around a lot more freely, and I guess take lessons learned and apply them to different sectors. And I guess that creates a lot more opportunities for people as well, especially young people coming into the industry.
Brilliant. Thank you, Steph. Thank you. Xanthi, our chief executive appears to have crept in one of the side doors without getting noticed. So welcome, Simon. Good to see you if you're still actually listening. Xanthi, what do EDF believe the realistic chances are now for Sizewell C, please? And I know that's the $64 million question. Is there anything?
The $20 billion question, sure.
Well, yeah, the $20 billion question, I guess. Is there anything more that EEGR can do? Is there anything more its members can do? We're desperate to help you.
Great. So we're feeling, can you hear me okay? Yes. We're feeling very positive in the Sizewell C project. Obviously last year, HMG just published their decision to enter into negotiations with EDF in relation to Sizewell alongside the white paper. And since then, discussions have been progressing really well. We have a draft term sheet and we're discussing how to move the project forward. And then in May, the government announced that it will bring forward further legislation, committing itself to creating more nuclear power. Kwasi Kwarteng made that announcement. So it's progressing. We're working very hard and we're working alongside the government. So yes, it's progressing well and we're hopeful. And as always, welcome any kind of support in terms of social media or promoting us at events, and indeed speaking to people at the government. So if you have specific ideas, basically get in touch. I'm happy to hear from anyone. I didn't properly introduce myself, which was a bit hopeless, but my official title is Head of Investor Relations in the Sizewell C project. And so I'm very much responsible for getting the news out and understanding what people need to see in terms of the investability, but also the broader picture of what nuclear can do on the road to net zero in the UK.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, most people I speak to are huge supporters of the massive energy developments going forward in our region, Sizewell C. Charlie's, East Anglia Hub and Vattenfall's Falls, Boreas and Vanguard projects. And the one thing that I would say to our audience today and to anyone that's listening in the future is don't just wait to be asked. Those that seek to object, and they're quite within their rights to object, we recognise their objections, of course, but those that seek to object are not shy. those that seek to support very often are. We think that that support is taken for granted centrally, and it isn't. And so, you know, everybody individually and organisationally, stand up, be counted. If you support it, say so.
And equally, yeah, and if you need any supporting information or facts, get in touch. We've got loads of great facts and figures and things. If you feel like you need some kind of Q&A supporting material, then do get in touch. I'm happy for my email address to be shared and to hear from anyone.
Fantastic, thank you. That's a kind offer. We'll make sure that gets circulated if needed. Somebody has asked, I don't know if Gemma's with us, or perhaps Rob, you'd like to have a go at this one, or I can. How do we find out more about Skills for Energy? How do we get involved with Skills for Energy?
I think Gemma's here, but I'll answer. Simple. Email Gemma, Marie. We can put the emails out on the chat. Or as the office is now back open, people can ring up the EEGR office and speak to us. But yeah, if you are interested, just please shout and let us know.
One thing that we continue to do is look for skills champions. Somebody's not muted. We continue to look for skills champions. So anybody on the call today that would love to get more involved, stand up, be counted, let us know. And we'd be delighted to enrol you into our efforts. Attracting and training young people and the next generation of workforce into energy is so important. We all need to get involved, and we all need to help with that one. So there's a couple of really kind comments. They're not really questions, but in the Q&A section, just saying how well both Jonathan and I have aged since those photographs. So that's very kind of you, Mr. Best, and one or two others, and Simon as well. Thank you for those kind words. Clearly true, obviously. Andy Holyland has asked, industrial clusters were referenced earlier. How do we showcase the collective opportunity in the region to ensure a different approach is understood and invested in and not overlooked? I guess, Andy, that's a similar question to how do we attract attention centrally? I think that the key is being coordinated, having a coordinated message. I think that we're very nice people in this region. We don't tend to shout too loudly. And I think that very often we need to shout much louder than we do, with a really coordinated voice. And so for me, you know, how do we showcase it? We take our message on the road, we take our message to Westminster, we continue to build relationships with other organisations around the UK, and we've started with our UK today, and we take our messages on the road. We ensure that our message is heard. As Jonathan mentioned earlier, we ensure that our message has data behind it, as quantifiable statistics behind it, and we demonstrate to those that we seek to attract attention of that we're worthy of that attention. And I think that we've done a great deal of that. EEGR has been responsible for doing that for a long time. But I also think that going forward, as the energy sector changes, as society changes, we need to continue to do that louder, stronger, more often, but with a coordinated voice. So we're just about there on time. There's one more just come in. There have been 16 Secretaries of State for Energy since EEGR's inception, and more than 16 Ministers of State. Do we see that as a problem? I don't know if any other members of the panel would like to have a go at that. I see that both as a problem and as an opportunity as well, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a problem because we rarely get consistency of policy. And one of the major challenges, certainly that offshore wind has seen over the last 10, 15 years, has been that inconsistency of policy. And of course, oil and gas has fought that inconsistency as well. But Bill, Charlie, Charlie, a view on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess all areas of government, you know, when you're dealing with shorter terms, where we see challenges in terms of the long-term outreach of policy, but I think it also gives us opportunities. You know, from the offshore wind sector, we've been asking for what we need, and I think we've really got there and been able to develop the industry. And what it has shown, we only need to look at East Anglia and how much it's recognised. With Claire Perry came down and launched the offshore wind sector deal in East Anglia. With Kwasi Kwarteng came down in his previous role, where he was able to come and sit with all the developers and hear from all the developers in the region about what their plans are. So I think also then having these changes, say, brings about opportunities as well, say for the longer term, you know, if we can get consistency of policy and a long-term approach, which certainly I think, speaking for offshore wind, we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. But Bill, anything to add on that from an OGA perspective?
So I guess for me, I've worked with most of them over the years when I was in DTI, DEC, all these things. And I think in my time, I did work with about 14 energy ministers. And it's not all bad, the churn, because they all come with different views. At the end of the day, most ministers take advice from the civil servants, and the civil servants have kind of been the same all the way through, so that there is a bit of a continuation going through between energy ministers. But I have got to say, and I'm not going to name any names before you try to pull that out of me, but there's been some extremely good ministers who have been great friends of the oil industry, of the energy industry, of the east of England, and there's been others with slightly less interest in these things. So I don't think it's generally as bad as it sounds. When you say there's been all these different ministers, people go, "Oh, that can't be good," but I don't think it's been all bad. And I would say there's been a consistent thread has kind of run through the whole thing. Real support for the energy sector, I think, right through the last 20 years.
Brilliant, thank you, Bill. Anybody else there?
Yeah, just going to go in on that as well, Martin, if I can. No, I kind of don't see the number of the Secretary of State as a challenge. I see that as a big opportunity to kind of keep banging the drum for our region, refining our message. We know that ministers move across departments, so they'll take that knowledge across the regions with them to different areas. And yeah, I think of the 16 there, I think at least there must be 13 or 14 of them have either come to the region, talk with EEGR, spoken at SNS or previous conferences. I think we've actually got a really good history of engaging ministers. I know we've had a number of the prime ministers join us in the region. So I remember hosting David Cameron, George Osborne previously, Theresa May has been to the region. Again, we can't forget we've got some really fantastic MPs working with industry and local partners to champion our region, to champion the sector. So, and a number of cabinet ministers now as well. So not only have we got Peter Aldous, who's fantastic on the video, we've got the likes of Brandon Lewis, Therese Kofi, Matt Hancock as well, that are really championing some of this. So I see that as an opportunity to constantly refine our message and keep playing that back into government.
Brilliant, thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to wrap things up now. We're a few minutes over. I'd like to thank everybody that's joined us today. We hope that you found that interesting. I'd like to thank the panel for joining us today for their presentations and for answering the questions. Again, the team for pulling all of this together. Great event, great video, fabulous slides. I'd like to close by reading a few words from pretty much the man that started all this, Mr. Best. So, not a question, but just a huge thank you. I hope that in building for the next 20 years, the strong foundations set down and demonstrated through the presentations today, alongside the fresh manifesto, support the forward mission. Continuing to work and engage on a people-to-people basis will be vital and important. And on that note, thank you to everybody and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.